Good luck, guys.
Alright, good evening everyone. Welcome to round one of the North American Grand Prix GT2 Championship. Coming to you live from Road America. This is the 2-hour feature race. I am going to be, for the most part, on my own tonight. Brad has been recruited to drive for Precision Motor Racing this evening. Gup Douglas, unfortunately, not able to make tonight's race, so Brad has stepped into the sister BMW and will be driving, also at times reporting live on track. Brad, do you copy? How are things shaping up for you on the BMW B6 Alpine?
Yeah, I copy, Al. Things are going great. Like you say, we had an unfortunate, we're missing Gup Douglas here tonight for PMR, and Moses needed a little bit of help for that team tonight, and so I was happy to step in and do what I can. As far as the BMW goes, it's great. As far as the race goes, even better, as we get to kick off Season 18 tonight here at Al. It's officially begun. The madness for the Season 18 Championship begins tonight.
So we're currently in qualifying 2, just waiting for a few guys to come in. The grid was set based on the results from last week's qualifying race. So once we're done here with Q2, we'll move over to warm-up, 5 minutes warm-up, and then to the race. So should be a pretty interesting night tonight. If you read the article earlier on today, this afternoon, which was posted on the North American Grand Prix website, big shock last week as Nick Johnston, newcomer, came in, I believe, the last race last season at Spa. Didn't really have a chance to show off his full potential, as if I recall, he disconnected at the start of the race or something like that. Anyway, he's here tonight for round one. Last week in the Panos, took pole by over half a second over Chris Moses in a stunning time. And his pace tonight in practice so far is just staggering. So it's going to be interesting to see if Chris will be able to hold off Nick Johnson. Chris Moses, obviously last week, went on to win the qualifying race. But it's going to be interesting to see how Nick handles the pressure, how the car's going to be late in the stint, and he's going to be going up against some stiff competition up front. Got Chris Moses and Aaron Parsons. It's going to be a tough task for him.
Yeah, well, no question about it. And I had a chance to interview quite a few of the drivers pre-season, and in particular, Aaron Parsons was talking up quite a bit the Panos even before car select, and I was a little surprised, in fact, that TBROK, Dan Van, and Aaron Parsons went for the Viper competition 2 over the Panos. As happy as Aaron was about it, apparently Nick Johnson found the pace in that car. Not only that, but he likes it as well, and he got it. And but you're absolutely right. He's got to go out on track. If he's not quite up on his endurance skills, they could be challenged tonight.
Well, he ended up finishing the race in third. He was coming on strong. I think if the race went a few laps more, he may have had a shot at overtaking both those guys, but had kind of a slow getaway he had a hard time seeing the start lights and got off to a slow start and lost some positions right out of the chute, but really worked his way back up to the field. He was back in fifth or sixth, and made his way past, had a great battle with Ian Jolicoeur, worked his way up to the field past David Paul, and managed to finish, right behind in third spot. So great run for Nick. Also for Sam Rolfe. Sam, Nick's teammate, also in the Panos, finished his best NAGP finish, finished seventh. So looking for some good things from those guys. And it's going to be a long evening, so we'll have to wait and see how things transpire here tonight.
Yeah, well, let me just finish my thought first. It was a great result for Sam Rolfe. Glad he was able to get up there, and that could be a strong team. However, Al, Nick Johnston has just disconnected from the server as we have switched to warm-up. So stunning event here, Al. I think Nick Johnston is going to be out of this race.
That is disappointing to see. He was on course to on his way to probably go on and challenge for the win, no doubt, in this race. So very unfortunate to see. That's too bad for Nick, but hopefully he is able to get everything worked out and come back next week. So, well, there goes that storyline.
Yeah, it's really too bad. What a disappointment. But that's also part of the deal here, getting set up and some of this official league racing action here at NAGP or anywhere is sorting out all the bugs with the new league, and sometimes these disconnects are part of that, making sure you have everything up and running good in that regard. So tough luck for Nick, but hopefully that'll be the last.
As we ride along with Brad.
And and you let me know, Al, if the motor's a little too loud for you there in the booth, and we'll adjust that.
No, you're just fine there, Brad. Just go ahead and do what you're doing. You'll be all right. So with that unfortunate disconnect by Nick, going along with Nick here tonight, we got a few guys, a few notables out tonight. Ian Jolicoeur, Gup Douglas, Bjorn Heyman, and David Holm, all out of tonight's race due to personal conflicts tonight, so they're not able to make it. So hopefully they'll be back for next week's race at Bathurst.
Yeah, no doubt they'll be back and strong as ever. It's always tough for some of these guys that run toward the front. Ian Jolicoeur in particular has scheduling conflicts, but they still manage to work well together as a team. He and Marty Urin, and they are able to find often substitutes and still hold together good for team points over the course of the season. So hope to see Ian and David back next week.
Well, we raced one previous feature 2-hour race here at Road America at this iteration of the track. It was won by Kevin Savoy in the Porsche 997. Race is going to go 51 laps. That race, I was reminded by Chris, that started off wet and then ended up drying out near the end of the race. Aaron Parsons finished second in the Morgan, and Thiago Canola finished third in the Mosler. Andres Prieto had fast lap with a 2:08.2, but that was, I believe that was back in season 12, if I recall. But But yeah, should the race remain dry here, it should finish well under the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, and I expect a real barn burner here tonight, Al. These guys have had plenty of practice coming into the event. So everybody's going to be pretty well versed at this track, and no doubt more than a couple of them are more than ready to go. It's been a long off season, but these guys are excited to get back at it.
Well, Brad, as we ride along with you, I know you pretty much had about a half hour to prepare for this race in this BMW. How is the car feeling for you up till this point?
You know, it's pretty good. Chris was able to send me some of the setup stuff that he was working on, and wasn't exactly to my liking. And with a few tweaks here and there, I think we'll be able to at least keep it on track for those guys and see if we can't get them a few points. We're not going to be looking to set the world on fire here or go for the win tonight, but like I say, we'll try to keep it out of trouble and on the black stuff, and hopefully get you some good pictures when we can from this view as well. The car itself, yeah, I'm sorry, the car itself does feel quite good, and boy, it's got a lot of quicks down the straight, so that never hurts, and it's pretty good through the twisties as well. Fun car.
All right, Brad. Well, we wish you a lot of luck tonight, and go get them. And we'll whenever you can, just jump in and let us know what you're seeing from your perspective.
Yeah, sounds good, Al. Looking forward to it.
So we see Nick actually just joined the broadcast. Nick, tough break for you, buddy. Hopefully, one DNF isn't going to ruin your season. So there's still time. It's still a long season, and you'll just have to come back and get them next week. Oh. So according to Nick, he Alt-Tab to make a change, and that's what killed him. So.
Oh.
Big mistake.
Yeah,
Rookie
well,
mistake.
that
that will probably never happen to him again. But nonetheless, we're off to the races here at Road America, and starting on pole now due to Nick Johnston's disconnect will be Chris Moses, starting second, Aaron Parsons third, David Canavan, Kurt Chandler starting fourth, Sam Roll fifth, Esteban Palacio sixth, Johnny Lugnut seventh, So Lung 8th, Simon Goodwin 9th, Marco Conning will be in 10th, John Houston 11th, Christian Hamilton 12th, Tiago Canola 13th, 14th will be Jared Keane, Drew Lidkia 15th, Lou Mascarelli starting 16th, and 17th is Kevin Miller, Salem Montgomery Jr. 18th, Eric Marecki 19th, Jens Klempnauer 20th, Brian Story 21st, Mike Greatrix 22nd, Mikey Monahan, who suffered a massive engine failure last week, will be 23rd, Jack Ivey also engine failure 24th, Swervin Mervin 25th, Greg Myers 26th, Marty Urine 27th, Brad Maris 28th, 29th, John Watson, and bringing up the rear at 30th will be Chuck Carter. As we mentioned, we're missing about 5 or 6 guys here tonight due to personal conflicts, but hopefully we'll see them all back next week.
Yeah, we should, Al. And, after all 30 starters, pretty good kickoff to the season, I'd say. So a lot of nerves going on for these guys out here sitting on this grid after this time off. And, 10 seconds from the start of season 18, Al.
Yeah, it looks like we're having some server issues, guys. Hang on 1 second.
Well, not sure what happened there, or if Al's still online, or if we're still up and running on the live stream. From my windscreen, everything seemed okay, except for in front.
No, we looks like we had some guys in the void somewhere. So hang on 1 second. Stand by. Okay. Okay, guys, looks like the problem's been squared away, and we're off.
Reset. Here we go.
Season 1, Season 18, Race 1, Road America underway. Chris Moses off to a good start, but the Viper of Aaron Parsons looks like it's going to motor his way by and take Chris into turn 1. Gonna be close. Chris hangs on to it. Nice job by Chris. Aaron Parsons settles back into P2. So Long had a bit of a nudge, ran a little wide, but hung on to it. Looking pretty good through the first couple corners. Looks like someone's off. One of the Mustangs has turned around.
Yeah, I didn't catch who that was, Al.
Like Chuck Carter and Kevin Miller. Eric Marecki has lost his rear end. Jared Keene. I'm sorry, Jack Ivey might have been involved. He's back at 29th. So some minor issues out back, but looks like most of the rest of the field is looking okay as Chris starting to put a little bit of distance between himself and Parsons.
Well, we're by and large really clean in the back here, Al. Some good scraps going on here to set themselves up.
Looks like David Canavan up to third spot, putting some pressure on Aaron Parsons. Canavan's a guy we're going to have to look out for tonight in that Ferrari 458. He's got that thing working for him tonight. Esteban up to 5th. Trying to chase down Kurt Chandler. Kurt looking really racy here last week and tonight in that Gumper. So nice job by Kurt keeping that thing up in the top 5 at the moment. Feeling the heat from Esty.
Yeah, and Esteban's surely going to continue to apply that pressure. See if Curtis can hold up to it.
See if the power of this Mercedes can get a toe off that Gumper and make a move going into turn 2. So Long running at P6, getting chased down. Looks like Johnny Lugnut's. Johnny Lugnut's having a nice run here tonight. Started qualified not too well, but has worked his way up last week in the qualifying race and finds himself here in P7 in the feature. Word from the pit lane as he was, his excuse was he was a little bit busy trying to help out his pseudo teammate Jack Ivey prepare, and in doing so didn't get much time in for the qualifying event, and that was the cause of his poor result in qualifying, but he's looking pretty well here tonight. Marco Conti from Christian Hamilton. Sorry, Brad.
Yeah, I was going to say on Johnny Lugnut, it's not too surprising he had showed the speed, and the only question for him is his race results over the course of 2 hours.
So Marco Conti looking quick in that Lambo here tonight, the Pirelli shot Lamborghini. Chasing down Johnny in the Michelin Lambo, and Christian Hamilton in the mix in P9. Christian looking good here tonight. A lot of new faces up in the top 10. Like to see that diversity here tonight.
It's great to see, Al. Yeah, just like it was last week. Yeah, and we really look forward to these guys mixing things up. I think, you know, from 5th place on back, it's going to be one heck of a season out here.
Jared Keane currently in 10th. And then after that, he's got a couple second gap over Drew Litke. And then there's a train behind Drew in the McLaren. He's got Lou Mascarelli, Tiago, Jens, and Marty crawling, working his way up. Started at 29th, 30th, I believe. He's about to make a move on Jens. Looks like he's going to take him. As Lou, you're 3 wide going into turn 2, and somehow Tiago comes out ahead of all these guys. Incredible racing here early on. Already all over the back of Jens. Marty's got Mikey Monahan in the Mercedes on his at his door handle, but Mikey runs a little wide. Marty hangs on to that position. Marty is really quick in this Aston. He had some connection issues last week. Looks like he's figured that out. He's looking pretty clean here tonight, connection-wise. He's all over the back again. These guys are running nose to tail. Going into Canada corner. Jens has a look on the inside. Be interesting to see how these McLaren, Yokohama shot McLarens do this season. This is a new tire brand for this car.
You know, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't perform pretty well, Al. They'll give up some pace, no doubt, in extreme heat, but by and large, I think that the car is, as David Poole proved last year, pretty quick, and Sol as well, of course, posting some very strong finishes in that car last season.
Meanwhile, Brad, while he's commentating, makes the pass on Mikey Monahan into 1. Nice pass, Brad. Well done.
Yeah, thank you, Al. The power of the BMW helped out quite a bit there.
Brad continues on. He's going to try and reel in Jens now, as Marty has made the move on Jens Klempnauer for 14th. Let's go back up front here as these guys are really going at it. Jens trying to answer back as Marty gets into the back of Lou. Lou is turned around. Brad manages to get around. Mikey not so fortunate there as he gets into Lou as the old J turn and gets that thing squared up and back underway. It's a tough break for Lou.
Marty also did a good job of salvaging that situation. Could have been much worse for him.
I was about to say that wasn't going to turn out too well, as those guys, you could tell, really going at it. Someone was going to end up getting the short end of that stick, and unfortunately that was Luke and Mikey, who had nowhere to go, and ended up getting involved in that incident. So Drew currently running 12th, getting chased down by Jens in the other McLaren. And meanwhile, Thiago Canola, this is the guy we're going to have to keep an eye on. This is probably the best fuel economy car in the car pack, a Porsche 997. And Thiago was showing really good lap times in practice. He was in the 206s, so you know, if he plays the fuel game right, you may see him fight for the win here tonight. Currently,
yeah, it's a real possibility, Alan. Yeah, and we can't forget that Thiago is carrying some bonus ballast here. I guess it's not a bonus since he got a good battle going on here over 12. Made a car change and so picked up some of that penalty weight.
That's right, he's running here tonight with weight ballast. Looks like he's makes the move on Sol. Sol, not sure what happened to him. He's dropped back as these two are side by side going into turn 3 before the bridge, and Thiago picks up another spot. He's got his eyes set on Jared, and looks like it's Marco Conti who is also falling back here. Jared in the 430 Ferrari. As Marco runs a little wide, that may allow Jared to make the pass on Marco. Doesn't look like Jared's got the legs to get in front of Jared going into that kick. Thiago, great exit out of that particular corner, heading into Canada. Looks like he's going to make the move on Jared. Nope, thinks better of it. I mean, just watching Thiago, it's just, he's very smooth. It doesn't look like he's working too much with that car. Like it doesn't look like he's fighting the car at all. It's just he's always got that thing dialed in, and whatever car he's driving to work for him. And as he makes the move on Jared going into 1, so now Thiago in the top 10 currently in P9.
Always running extremely consistent and clean lines is Thiago Al. Really misses a brake point. And maximizes his acceleration coming off corners. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, yep, tough competitor.
Meanwhile, up front, Chris Moses continues to lead this one with Aaron Parsons. It looks like pretty much a replay of last week's qualifying race, as Chris runs a bit wide going into the carousel, or heading into the carousel, I should say, which has allowed Aaron to catch up to him slightly. Last week Aaron was pretty patient, closing laps of last week's qualifying race. Did make a move on Chris going into this same exact corner we're approaching now, Canada corner, but Chris managed to hold off that late pass by Aaron to end up winning the race. But we still have a lot of time.
Yeah, that was an incredibly tense, spirited affair there late in that qualifying race between those two guys. And then with our Panos, Nick Johnston rapidly closing in on him. That was great stuff.
So I think, knowing the duration of this race, I think Aaron's not going to try and be as aggressive here early on. I'm pretty sure he's content following Chris around and knowing how hard Chris drives, and maybe going to wait and see if Chris starts to wear his tires out a bit here late in the first stint, and then eventually make a move on Chris. So definitely to keep an eye on. As Aaron has a look on the inside of Moses, but not better of it. Meanwhile, further back, Dave Canavan continues to run in third, all by his lonesome. Esteban in fourth, about 5 seconds back, and Kurt Chandler looks like he lost a position to Esteban, but continues to run in the fifth spot. So Kurt continuing to run a nice race here tonight, and Christian Hamilton as well, currently in sixth. Lugnuts remains in seventh, as Marco now feels the heat from Tiago. Tiago having a look on the outside at the carousel. Part of the track, Tiago is very quick. Taking a look on the inside. Nope. Marco hangs on to a good job of driving by both guys. So Marty and Brad, who started side by side near the back of the field, currently running 12th and 13th. As Marty has a bit of a slide going to the final corner. Like,
yeah, and Jens gave me one heck of a fight there for a couple 3 laps. I was fortunate to slip by him here. Hopefully I could run those guys down and see if we could do any better.
It's Marty with the power of that ass, and looks like he's going to take that position away from Jared. So Marty continues to pick off positions as we lap 7 here at Road America. Looking at pit window count, probably around lap 17 for most guys. Some guys may decide to stretch out their stint a little bit. Sol and Marco side by side. Sol with a nice pass on Marco. Marco runs a little wide. And Marty's all over the Monahan, after that little incident with Luke, currently running P15 in the points. And John Houston, the final Aaron Parsons' teammate, currently in the final points paying position. So good job by John to get up to where he needs to be. One guy we're gonna have to keep an eye on in terms of fuel strategy is Greg Myers. Greg will probably be the last guy to pit here in this first stint.
By far, especially now that Gup Douglas is not in the event, Al.
Yeah, both Gup and Greg have a tendency to be able to stretch the cars out in terms of fuel and really get the best fuel economy out of their particular race cars. As Brian Story currently in 18th. Having a nice run tonight. Lou and Drew have fallen back Lou in 19th, Drew in 20th, and Kevin Miller right behind in 21st. Kevin takes a look at the inside of Drew, and it looks like he's going to make the pass. He may make the move on Lou, who ran wide, and he does it. So nice pass by Kevin. Gets by both Drew and Lou, as these two, as Drew and Lou continue to go at it. Drew looking on the inside of Lou. That nursery rhyme night. But Lou hangs on to it and hangs on to his position as they go into the carousel. Not giving Mascarelli any breathing room here, as takes a look on the inside, going into Canada corner, side by side. Ooh, and I'm sorry, Simon. I thought it was Drew. Simon. My apologies. Simon gets a little too much curve there and gets a little out of shape. So he's gonna get some work for cut out for himself to make that time back up. Meanwhile, Mike Greatchick's running in 22nd. Kurt Chandler's teammate. Greattricks was looking pretty racy here in practice, but
showing some great times in practice, Al. I was really happy to see that. Mike, somewhat new NAGP member here, but really has picked it up apparently so far over last season, so it's great to see.
Mike, a graduate of Brad's driving school, NAGP driving school, so looks like your teachings are paying off here, Brad.
Well,
certainly improved.
It's not so much in my hands as the guys that are behind the wheel and how much practice they decide to put into it. You get out of it with what you put into it, Al.
Well, we all thank you for the work you put in. A lot of time and effort goes into that in the off season, so thanks a lot, Brad, for putting all that together. Meanwhile, Lofton struggling here, back in 23rd. Not sure what's going on with him tonight, but looks like he's got his hands full with that Z4. And Eric Marecki continues to carry on here without his rear. His rear end is completely missing, as you see Lofton continues to fight that Z4, but Eric Marecki in 24th, somehow getting that car around this track, keeping it off the grass and out of the crowd. Jack Ivey currently in 25th. We're hoping Jack is able to broadcast on Thursdays, as unfortunately Mikey's been having some technical issues with his machine, so hopefully Jack is able to carry the torch for us here on NAGP TV on Thursday night. So we'll have to follow up with Jack and see what he can do for us. And meanwhile,
yeah, and of course, you know, we always. Oh, I'm sorry, Al. I was just going to say, of course, you know, we want to try to bring you the best broadcasting we can after all, so I apologize for any of you that have tuned in hoping for some of those Thursday night broadcasts. We had a Ferrari spin in front of me here, Al. Looks like Christian Hamilton had a little trouble and couldn't quite take enough evasive action there from him. A few tense moments there and a little bit of front aero damage, I reckon.
Yeah, looks like so we have Drew currently at 26th, Sale Montgomery Jr. 27th. Looks like he's a lap down, as is Chuck Carter and his other Z4. So the two Z4's teammates Wathan and Carter both have seen better nights. So
Yeah, it's tough luck, but that's part of the deal. You get out here and you race, and you got your skill, and then you got your luck.
Well, meanwhile, up front, Aaron Parsons has made the move on Chris Moses for the lead, so apologize for missing that one, but Aaron did make the move and started to put a little distance between himself and Chris. Gap is just over a second, and David Canavan hanging in there just 3 seconds back as he tries to reel Chris Moses in.
Well, it turned out to be a relatively significant amount of aero damage for the BMW Alpina here at 8.4 seconds worth, so we're going to be a little slow the rest of the stint here.
So as the field spreads itself out a little bit, Tiago Canola has worked his way up to P6 and has Kurt Chandler in his sights. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the guy we're going to have to keep an eye on. And he's really making a charge here tonight. Johnny Lugnuts, however, remains in P7. And Marty Urin now running in 8th. So Long continues along in 9th. Brad to the top 10. Nice showing by Brad Maris. Commentating and driving at the same time. Not an easy task.
Again, before that bump with Christian Hamilton, we were looking to try to reel in Sol Lung and see if we couldn't have a little dice with him, but got set back a little bit with that spinning Ferrari.
It looks like the left front of that BMW is a little askew, but it doesn't look like it's going to hurt you too bad.
Yeah, like I say, 8.4 seconds of damage, so a little slower on the straights, but like I say, we'll try to get her fixed up here in a couple laps and get back after it.
So as Brad goes along here, he's got Jens Klempnauer right trying to close the gap on Brad. Jens running a good race here tonight in that McLaren, just outside the top 10.
Indeed, again, made it a very tough pass when I got by him before, and I might have to do some work here in a couple laps if I want to try to hold on to this position now.
Jared Keane currently in 13th, trying to close the gap up to Marco Conti in the Lambo. Great showing by Jared here tonight. Ooh, just as I say that,
yeah,
he runs wide.
Oh no.
Turn 2, sorry, broadcaster's curse. You know it was bound to happen, so he loses a position to Mikey Monahan. Doesn't cost him too much, just one position loss, but rejoins in 14th, so tough break from Jared. Greg Myers now finds himself in the points as he's gotten by Brian Story. Should I take that back? It looks like Christian Hamilton's incident has moved Greg up into the points. So Christian back in 18th after running in the top 10 for quite some time. Currently working lap 13 of a scheduled 51. Long night of racing still ahead, folks. So meanwhile, it looks like Simon has finally gotten past Lou Mascarelli.
Well, not sure where you're at there on track, Al. Just going to give you a quick update. I'm trying to actually push a little bit here, try to keep Jens behind me, but he's done a great job maintaining that gap. So Jens is looking pretty sharp here.
So as you say that, Marty makes the move on Johnny Lugnuts to take 7th position away. So now Marty and Tiago both trying making an incredible charge to the front, as is yourself, Brad. So Tiago now within about 3 seconds of Kurt Chandler. I'm sure Kurt's now seeing that in his rearview mirror. Hopefully Kurt just focuses forward and not worry, and doesn't worry about what's behind him. He's running a great run, having a great run here tonight, and as I was saying, Kurt's having a great run here tonight. We just would hate to see him make some kind of mistake here. So, I'll tell you what, up front, Chris has not let go of Aaron Parsons as these two continue to go at it. How's the engine life on that BMW?
Well, so far so good, Al. Just for safety's sake, and like I say, try to get some points captured here for PMR. We backed it off a little bit just to be safe and try to bring her home here tonight. Quite a bit of rear tire degradation, and it's becoming a little bit, well, extremely twitchy actually on braking. Started off relatively poor, and it's kind of gotten worse from there. But I think we got a good chance to at least keep it on track here and get to our pit stops, get some of this damage fixed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, keep it on track. Your pits windows should be opening up soon. You'll be, get that new rubber and you'll be good to go. But yeah, I'll tell you what, this battle up front has not let up. As Chris continues to had a look earlier on in this lap, but just wasn't close enough to make try and make a move on Parsons. A little surprised that the BMW is able to hang in there with the Viper down these straights.
Well, I have to say I'm a little surprised at its straight line speed as well, Al. I wasn't really expecting that, and didn't have a chance to really give a thorough test of the car pack in preparation for our broadcast season. But apparently, some pretty good juice has been given this motor, and it's probably a good thing. It's a little difficult sometimes in the twisties, and I could see the way Chris set up the car that. You have to set it up a little loose to get it to turn as well as you'd like. So.
As Moses now is right on the bumper of Parsons going into turn 3. Chris has a look on the inside. Parsons hangs on to the position. I was testing the car last night because Chris had asked me if I maybe sit in if you did the broadcast or what, but I was struggling with the engine life. It was I was really wearing out the motor. I didn't really drive the car too much, but that was one of the first things I noticed. It was I really have to change the way I drove the car in order to keep it from detonating.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't suffered too much engine wear problems yet, Al, but I'll keep you informed, certainly, if anything's looking a little... He saw Lung here in ninth. Looks like he's a little off the pace over the last couple, 3 laps, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe he's having some tire troubles of his own.
Meanwhile, Thiago Canola has just made the move on Kurt Chandler. Kurt now running in 6th. Thiago up to P5. And Marty Urin now has Kurt in his sights. So these two continue to make their way up through the field. Looks like Marty.
Yeah, indeed, but still it.
They have a run on Kurt into Canada.
Yeah, still it should be said, Curtis is really having a fantastic race up there, man. So a great job for Curtis, and that's, I know, going to be a big boost to those guys going forward the rest of the way.
Marty's car is really, really fast down the straight. Marty has a huge lurch, and lost a bit of time, didn't come up as close to Kurt as he would have liked, but Marty's Aston is dynamite down the straight, so I was about to say, if he exited that last corner, you know, as Kurt has a bit of a huge lockup and winds up in the gravel, so he's going to lose a bunch of spots here as Kurt hopefully gets it going, and looks like he's going to lose a couple more positions to Stoll, Brad, and looks like Jens is going to take a position away as well. So Kurt, tough break for him, falls back to P11, so that's okay. Kurt's still quiet, so hopefully he'll make up some positions here. It looks like Sol is struggling a bit in that Audi. As Brad is following him.
Struggling a little bit in the Audi, Al, and also being held up a little bit by Kurt's off there in the sand, so we had to check up a bit for that. So we'll try to make it around here and maybe stay out of this fight for the rest of this lap and dive on into the pits, see if we can get some fresh rubber here and get some of that damage fixed.
So the leaders are in the pits. Parsons, Moses, and Canavan has pitted. Palacio into the pits. Canola will have to wait and see what he decides to do. He will probably stay on. And I
would think so, Al.
He is pitting as we speak. Marty has stayed out, and he's going to take over the lead of the race. The Lugnuts into the pits. Long into the pits as well. Followed closely by pits, and it's a little piece of Sol. Jens also into the pits. So Marco pulling it in, really slow going into the pits, but everybody's diving in now. Keane, looks like Myers, he's definitely going to stay out. Brian Story looks like he stayed out. Hamilton in. Miller has stayed out.
Shit.
Moses is away, and as is Parson. Aaron has a dynamite stop, and he's going to come out way ahead of Chris Moses. Tremendous pit stop by Parson, so he's made up a ton of ground on Moses.
Yeah, Al, that's going to come down to the fuel conservation in the Viper competition coupe, particularly compared to Chris Moses' driving style, which is not generally easy on fuel. Thiago
back out. keep an eye on Brad and Sol along here. See who's going to get out first. Brad's away. And Sol is out. Jens looks like he's going to beat Solo. It looks like, oh, no, side to side here, exiting the pits. And it looks like the McLaren might take him. And Jens gets the position from Sol. A drag race at the exit of the pits. These guys are going to have to be careful here. They're on cold rubber. And Mikey Monahan and Johnny Lugnut's also battling, coming out of the pits. Looks like Johnny's got the advantage, though. Keep an eye on these two. Ooh, and Mikey hard under braking. Is he going to hang on to it? He does, and he takes the position away from Johnny. Wow, nice pass by Mikey. Looked a little dicey there going into that braking zone, but made it stick.
After running up front, after running up front early and having some trouble, Mikey needs a little redemption. Hopefully, his last 2/3 of the race here will work out well for him.
So Marty Urin has pitted. Aaron Parson goes by. And as does Chris Moses. Have to keep an eye on Tiago, see how he... As Greg, I'm surprised Greg's pitted already. I figured he'd stay out a lot longer. SD.
Yeah, interesting now.
Gets out ahead of Marty. Marty is rolling away. Tiago is going to beat him out. So Tiago comes out ahead of Marty. I believe he was ahead of Marty going into the pits, but looks like he's made up quite a bit of time with Marty making his pit stop. Going to want to get by Brian as quickly as possible here so as to not lose much time to Parsons. With the look on the inside into Canada corner. Oh, and they both go off. So Chris looks like he left his braking a little too late. Went in really hot and just had a little bit of contact with Brian and was off into the gravel. Didn't lose too much time though. Was back on. Neither guy's really lost much time, but that's going to allow Canavan to close up on Moses. Recky's still running on track without his rear clip. Gotta suspect he'll be pitting soon. And in he goes.
Yeah, he should be out.
Marty back in the pit lane. Huge turn of events. It looks like Marty may have gotten a black flag as Brad drives by. We're going to have to see if Marty gets a stop and go here. He might have got a speeding penalty going into the pits. Either that or didn't get service, one of the two.
Yeah, real disappointment. Marty is running so well, making up a lot of ground from the back, and it should be noted as well, having no warp issues, which is great to see.
So yeah, Marty looks like he did get a stop and go penalty for speeding. So tough break for Marty. He's going to lose a ton of time. He's already back in 18th. So that is huge for Marty. Tough break.
So yeah, overall I was a little surprised not to see a bit more pace from Marty. I know that he was in traffic, of course, in the early going, trying to pick up those spots from the rear, but I did expect a little bit more pace from Marty when he got clear of that traffic.
Lugnuts making a nice pass on Kurt. Looks like he's going to hang on to it. He does. Kurt takes a brief look on the inside, but thought better of it going onto the bridge. Check up a little bit. Tell you what, Johnny could do some big things in this Lambo. It's a good car, and it seems like Johnny's pretty comfortable in this car. And he's looking pretty darn quick. So I have to keep an eye on Johnny in future events here this season.
You know, him and teammate Mascarelli as well. I said it last week, and I was kind of surprised myself by saying it. Didn't expect it, but I think they could make some noise in the team championship. I think it's a real possibility, assuming they keep it on track. And you know, we've already seen Lou had his problems with that tonight, but there's no question these guys with just a tiny bit of consistency improvement could start climbing up that classification.
And I'll tell you what, because Kurt's no slouch here at this track. I mean, he's been laying down some great times. We saw he was running up and forth for quite a while, but until he had that mistake. But he made the move on Kurt, and looks like he's driving away from him. So, and going back to the team points, that's one part of the championship that really has a tendency to fluctuate week to week. And you really need consistency for both drivers to really win a title. I mean, we saw it, you know, evident last season in GT1, especially where the team championship really fluctuated week to week, and just when you thought one team was going to walk away with it, you know, one unfortunate incident by one driver of a team, and you're out of it. So anything's possible.
Yeah, and of course, disaster is always possible. If both guys go out, that is a huge amount of points lost in one whack there. So it is a classification that can change rapidly. And I find it one of the more interesting championships that we have to watch those battles unfold throughout the season. Fun stuff.
So we saw Kurt run wide there at the kink. Really, you can tell he's really trying to push here to catch up to Johnny, but Johnny's looking strong. Meanwhile, Mikey Monahan has worked his way up tonight. So Mikey, tough break early on. Had an incident with Lou after Lou got spun, but fell back to, I think it was 16th or 17th, but has kept his nose clean since and find himself in the top 10. Meanwhile, So Long and Jens Klempnauer continue to do battle. Jens all the way up to 7th. Brad,
yeah, nice run for Jens tonight.
Brad running a solid 6th position. About 15 seconds behind Tiago, so he's... Go ahead.
You know, that gap has not opened up, Al. I was just going to mention that. It's a little interesting. I wonder if Tiago is on some type of fuel strategy here as this race kind of concludes, because I would expect him to have a little bit more pace than my total 12 laps worth of practice in this car before the race, but his pace is not exactly what I would have expected.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Really, quite a ways off.
We'll have to see where if he comes in. Probably next pit stop's going to be around lap 34. We'll have to see if he decides to stay out or if he's trying to pace himself here to really take a short fuel fill at the end here and make a run for at least a podium. But taking a look at the gaps, he's 38 seconds off Parsons, who's got a 9-second lead over Moses and 16 seconds over Canavan. So Parsons is looking very comfortable at the moment for the win here, but still a ways to go. Working
well,
23 have yet to reach the halfway point of the race, so we're getting there.
Yeah, it's been an interesting start to the season already. What do you think? Yeah, I personally think we're in store for a pretty good one. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I agree. I mean, as we lost somebody, not sure who.
Simon Goodwin, Al.
Simon Goodwin has checked out. Right along here with Esteban. Yeah, I mean, there's a very interesting schedule this season. You know, we got Bathurst, that's always entertaining. Golden Port, it's a new circuit we're running this season in GT2. That's going to be a challenge. It's a very short run, about minute 8, minute 7, something like that lap time, maybe even a little less. So it's kind of like a bull ring, but that's going to be interesting based on, well, qualifying is going to be a challenge based on traffic, and race, a lot of lap cars. So that's going to be another interesting event. Also Slovakia, another new track to the schedule this season in GT2.
Yeah, and both those tracks you mentioned, Golden Port and Slovakia, both are extremely technical tracks, and as mentioned, Golden Port, of course, also extremely short, and traffic will, of course, play a key, but also those tracks are extremely technical. Interestingly, though, they do offer a lot of opportunities to pass, so it'll be fun times out there. Look forward to those ones, especially.
Slovakia has a little feature in one of the end of one of the straights heading into the braking zone is a big hill right before the braking zone, and the car has a tendency to leave the ground, and it's not a glitch in the track, it's actually a feature at that track. If you Google Slovakia, there's a great video of an Audi R8 with all 4 wheels on the ground, and I mean all 4 wheels up in the air. It's kind of like a montage someone put together of the cars going over that little hill and just completely airborne. It's amazing. Pretty cool video to watch if you haven't seen it. So meanwhile, up front, Aaron Parsons continues to lead the way. Is about to put one of the Mustangs a lap down. I believe that's Kevin Miller. Chris Moses has managed to take about a half a second away from Parsons' lead, but still 8.5 seconds back. That pit stop was either Chris had to take a lot of fuel or Aaron was just dead on with it. He was in and out quick, and came out with a huge advantage.
Well, I really suspect it was a fuel issue, Al, and if that is the case, then you could expect to see that gap open up even more here in about another 10 laps when we have another pit stop rotation, our final.
So, meanwhile, Brad has closed the gap up a bit to Tiago. Is now down to about 6 seconds.
I think Tiago's timing and scoring, might be fluctuating a little bit. It's remained stationary. I am able to push a little bit in the first couple 3 laps here in the car, but the heat, I don't know if you've mentioned it recently, the heat has really climbed up here and the tires are kind of suffering as a result. So
I have not mentioned the track temp. I'm sorry if I failed to mention that, but 110 degree track temperature, 89 degree ambient, as Jens makes the move on Sol. These guys, a little too hot going into the braking zone, and Jens unable to hold on to it. Sol, meanwhile, says thank you, and I'll just keep going on my merry way. Meanwhile, Mikey Monahan continues to run at 9th and is really closing the gap up on Jens, especially after that little mistake. So we may see Mikey have a nice slide on that exit by Mike, nice power. But we may see Mikey have a look at Jens in the next few laps here. Chandler Lugnuts battle continues to go on here, as Kurt has now reeled Lugnuts back in and is now under a second off as Johnny smoking the tires on the brake. It looks like Jens might have had an issue. He has. Not sure. I think going into Canada Corner, he might have gone off there. We just saw him rejoining the track, and that's allowed Mikey Monahan to get by, and now Johnny Lugnuts a couple seconds behind Jens. So Jens continues in 9th. I'm sorry, he's fallen back a position to 9th, but still in the top 10 as Johnny is trying to hold on to that final top 10 position here, but feeling the heat from Curtis, and not looming not too far back is Marco Conti in that Lambo.
Yeah, and I was going to mention the same thing, Al. I've kind of been keeping an eyeball on my timing and scoring here in car, and those guys have been having a heck of a battle. And you know what? Those are battles that will probably continue throughout this entire season, those guys. So they're going to get a lot of experience starting right here tonight, running around each other, I think.
Well, John Houston running, Parsons' teammate, running a solid 13th position. Had a little bit of car damage in the first stint that was probably affecting his lap times a little bit, but looks like he's well underway here in his second stint. And got a couple second gap over Greg Myers, who's currently in 14th. Christian Hamilton in 15th. Marty Urin now back up to the points in 16th after having to serve that stop and go. Not sure what happened to Jared. Jared's fallen back a little bit out of the points now. He's back at 17th, but still going here. He's gonna have a tough task here too. He's a big slide. The exit going into the carousel, but he's going to have his hands full here trying to reel Marty back in. Marty is absolutely flying, but he still may have a chance to get into the points here. There's still quite a ways to go.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of anger driving for Marty having some type of problem there on his stop. But we're looking to and expecting some pretty good things from Jared. These last couple seasons, we've talked about it, really starting to show his pace and be on form. And I think Jared, once he gets his feet wet here with this new car and gets some laps in it, we'll be pretty solid, good to go the rest of the way.
Well, it looks like Watson. Looks like might have been Montgomery, might have gone off in the Jag, but as we follow Watson along here, struggling back at 19th. Mascarelli back at 20th. Brian Story running at 21st. Having a battle here with Eric Marecki, who is back at 22nd. Finally getting that Ferrari repaired. He ran the first stint without his rear clip. Great Tricks back at 23rd. Drew in 24th. And Jack Ivy 25th. Excuse me. Chuck Carter back in 27th. Looks like Brad's closing up on Chuck.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned John Wathan a bit further back here tonight. You know what? We saw that quite a bit last season as well. John might be in a little bit of a dry spell here, but he's a guy we always expect to see rebounding here, and hopefully he'll get back on pace here, starting this next week at Bathurst. Gonna be a fun time out at that one now. Can't wait.
Yep, Brad will be driving at Bathurst again, and not sure. You figure out what car you're driving yet?
Well, we'll see if we can't fill in for a team out there, Al, and give somebody a hand. That's one I marked on the calendar. We generally like to try to get a race in, one of us each season. And sorry that I'm went ahead and filled in for Chris Moses there. I hate to leave you on the hook with the extra broadcasting duties, but
that's okay. I commend you for being able to race and drive at the same time and commentate. I mean, race and commentate at the same time. It's not easy, for sure.
It poses some challenges, Al, but we didn't have too much stress in having to really make good pace here tonight. Like I say, try to keep out of trouble. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of contact with Kenny Mervin early coming out of the kink as he got on the grass and slowed dramatically. It was very tough to stay off his bumper there, so I apologize to Kenny, and unfortunately a few corners later I saw that he took the DNF, so hopefully it wasn't as a result of that.
Well, meanwhile, Tiago has now closed the gap to Esteban. The gap is now only 7 seconds, so Tiago is making some ground here as we head towards the midpoint of the race. We're working lap 27. Currently have 18 cars on the lead lap. It's about to fall to 17. I'll tell you what, it's pretty impressive to see that this win most likely is going to come down to pit stops, because right now it looks like it's going to be between Parsons and Moses, and the gap between these two has been pretty much 8 seconds this entire second stint, 8 to 9 seconds, and the gap in the first stint was a couple seconds tops. And going into the pits, they were probably a second and a half apart, but that dynamite pit stop by Parsons is playing huge here.
Boy, up at the top with these guys, so skilled, so well versed in maintaining whatever pace they happen to get, which is usually quite fast, it should be mentioned. But you know what? Those pit stops, the ability to work traffic, the ability to handle any other problems that happen out there. This is what makes these guys really so special and so fast. So, yeah, and we know Aaron is a dynamite in the pits anyway. So, and then finally, you know, we saw these guys battle just like this in the qualifying race as well, and there's no reason why it's not going to. Just every year, you know, the bar gets raised a little bit, and these guys step it up along with everybody else. Al, unfortunately, it looks like Mike Monahan has taken a DNF here, just escaped.
I'm not sure what happened to Mikey, but tough break. As we ride along with David Canavan, I haven't spoken too much about David. He's quietly running in the 3rd spot here, about 7 seconds behind Chris Moses, but really been able to make up too much ground on Chris, as all these guys are running pretty consistent lap times. As Canavan looks like he made his way past Eric Marecki in the other 458 issue up in some lap traffic. So Brad, I failed to ask this question. What was your tire choice going into the race tonight? Did you take mediums all around, or did you elect to go with the hards?
Well, actually went ahead and took the mediums as per Chris Moses' suggestion, and I think they're fine. They're a little difficult to manage. When the temperature is actually high, they do cool down quite well on the straights, but coming into Canada Corner off of the kink, when that left rear tire is overheated, is a challenge under braking, and hitting that corner right on that right-hand turn.
This Canavan works his way through some lap traffic. Looks like Salem lets him by without issue. Got Lou just ahead. Timing and scoring. Looks like Tiago's still about 7 seconds off of Palacio. So really hasn't been able to make up much more ground since the last time we looked at the timing.
Yeah, he's been able to take out some time on me here, Al, in that 5th spot. Now that the tires on the Alpina here have gone off a bit, but still in all, I'm still a little surprised at Tiago's overall pace. And so perhaps that 30 kilos in combination with that low-powered Porsche is affecting him a little bit tonight.
Sol Lung currently up to 7th. So Sol, after those early battles with Klempnauer going off, and is now on his own here in 7th. Johnny Lugnuts continues to run 8th. Marco Conti now up into the top 10, running in P9 after Mikey Monahan withdrew from the race. And Marty now up to the top 10 after his stop and go. John Houston now in 11th. Greg Myers running a solid 12th. Expect Greg to be in the top 10 before the night's done here. We'll have to wait and see. Klempnauer now in 13th, getting pressured heavily now by Christian Hamilton. Let's ride along with Christian here. See if he's able to close up on Klempnauer. has a bit of a problem on the exit of the carousel. It's going to allow Christian to get a nice run up on him going into Canada corner. I'll tell you what, that McLaren really is a sharp looking car. The rear end of that car is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful car. And you know what? Those time gaps back there for that 8th spot are really not all that far apart, all the way down to 13th. You know, the smallest mistake here over the course of 2 hours can really change those positions rapidly. So those guys are still in quite a dogfight.
So Parsons currently holding the fast lap of the race with a 2:06.4. Chris Moses right behind him with a 2:06.5.48. So lap time's very close. Canavan also in the 2:06s. So top 3 of the 3 quickest guys on the track.
Yeah, David really has been having, David Canavan, that has really been having a solid run tonight. And as you say, quiet, but not giving up any ground, just kind of hanging out. Maybe seeing how the race is going to unfold here for him after this last stop.
You know, just looking at the lap times by all three of them, the top 3, they're almost identical. I mean, none of these guys are able to really make up any ground on one another. They're all running, aside for that brief little slip up by Moses where he ended up in the gravel. Other than that, they've been relatively close on lap time. So.
And my timing and scoring now looks like Chris Moses has dove into the pits.
So Moses pitting on lap 33 here, pitting early.
Chris is going to try to take out a couple seconds on Aaron here. He can on fresh rubber. I don't know how big a difference it's going to make for him or not, but yeah, that's his strategy. Coming as soon as that pit window opens, try to take out as much time as he possibly can on that fresh rubber.
And Chris is already out, so look to be a pretty quick stop by Moses. We're going to see what Aaron Parsons decides to do. Doesn't look like Moses has any traffic really that he needs to deal with, so looks like he's got nothing but clear track ahead, so that's going to help him for sure. Canavan into the pits as well. So it looks like some of these guys electing to pit early. Sorry, I was just going to say this will be their final stop of the race. So
indeed it will, and I think most of the guys electing to go with those, like you said at the top of the show, those 17 lap stints, and that second pit window at lap 34 will be coming up here this very next lap. So I'm going to assume that Chris. I'm going to assume Chris Moses coming in the lap previous was the earliest he could possibly come in and make it to the end. So
Palacio now takes over second spot, and Canola moves up to third. Brad is running at P4. Canavan still in the pits. Looks like he's about to get underway. We'll have to see how he comes out. Looks like Chris is going to take that position away from Canavan and take sixth spot. As Marco and Marty battle it out. It looks like Canavan's going to come out right ahead of these guys. Ooh, this could be dangerous, as Canavan, trying to hold on to his position, came out in the middle of a battle between Marty Urin and Marco Conti. And Canavan,
boy, those guys aren't going to want to give up.
Canavan split the gap between those two. Wow, that was a little hairy. You got to give it to Marty. They had to make an unscheduled pit stop to serve a penalty, and he's back in the top 10. I mean, who knows where he could have ended up had he not gotten that penalty, because he really is flying here tonight.
Yeah, certainly, Al, but it's a great job he's making to salvage every point he possibly can. So, good job, Marty.
Parsons is in the pit lane, as is Esteban and Tiago. And Brad as well. So, and Parsons is underway. Looks like he's going to get out ahead of Moses. So Moses has definitely made up some time. He's made up 5 seconds after that pit stop, and is now only 3 seconds behind Parsons. So Chris answers back in his second stop.
Yeah, indeed. That made a big difference. Worn tires around here will give up quite a bit of ground. So good job, Chris. And apparently didn't nail that perfect stop this time. It's going to be a good battle coming down to the end.
It really is, and you can see he's really trying to push. As that BMW's getting all out of shape.
Yeah, I would have to say Chris Moses, one of the best late pushers we have around here. Not too surprising with the amount of championships the guy's got, so it makes sense that he would be, but great late charger, always has a will of steel coming down to the end and looking to make up ground.
I'll tell you what, Tiago Canola has leapfrogged Palacio in the pit lane and has come out ahead.
Interesting.
Oh, I apologize.
He had pretty good gap on Esteban.
I apologize. That was Greg Myers, who is still out on track ahead of SD. But Canola remains behind. Sorry about that. Looks like Parsons may have been held up a little bit by traffic. Gap is now under 3 seconds. As Chris Moses just sets fast lap of the race with a 2:06.1.
Yeah, that's going to do nothing to hold Chris back anymore. Seeing that gap come down for any reason, if he's going to just try to push harder and harder, the more gap comes down. So Ez is going to have to be on his game.
So Marty back into the pits. That's going to give Canavan his third spot back. And Esteban quite a ways back in fourth. Marty still in the pits. Myers has come into pit. And Canola's going to end up in the top 5. As Brad gets the nice draft off Kevin Miller. This is for position.
Yeah, Kevin has yet to pit, so he have some tire issues at this point in this stint. But nice little dice there for Kevin, nice and clean.
So Brad makes the pass on Miller to take 6th spot away.
And where's Kevin Miller been running here tonight, Al? Has he been somewhere around those points positions?
Yeah, it looks like Kevin's been back around 13th, 14th, something like that, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Boy, you know, we saw some, we saw some really great drives from Kevin, late last season, and boy, it'd be great to see him continue that, those strong efforts he was putting in. So, I'm really hoping we are able to see some strong, solid, consistent point finishes from Kevin this season. That'd be great.
So long with the nice pass on Marecki on the outside of that right-hander. That was a bit of a ballsy move by Sol. That could have been ugly. But he made it work, and a nice job by Eric to keep it tidy there. Marty in 11th. He's going to make up some ground here as these pit stops shuffle around. As they cycle through, Greg Myers rejoins at 12th. He's got John Houston right behind. Johnny Lugnut's in 14th with Ryan Story right behind at 15th. And Marco Conti running along.
Yeah, interesting. It should be noted, Al. Yeah, sorry, didn't want to interrupt your rundown, but it should be noted that Thiago has given up quite a bit of time here in the pits. I'm not sure what happened, but gave up a good 8 seconds to myself, so I don't think he pitted too much later, so maybe a bad stop for Thiago.
So Klempnauer, Curtis, and Christian battling it out with Parsons right behind this fight, as is Moses, as Aaron Parsons gets by Christian without issue. But that's just going to slow Parsons down a little bit and just allow Chris Moses to close that gap up even more. Gap is now under 2 seconds. As Hamilton lets Chris by without any issue. So we got some time here. I'd just like to mention next week we're going to be, as Parsons looks like he gets into it a little bit with, I believe that's Greatrix.
Uh-oh.
And that's, I don't think they had contact. I think just Parsons had to check up a little bit for him. Gap now 1 second. As Chris is in the carousel, I think might be Greatrix is going to be held up a little bit through this carousel, but Chris is going to have to be careful through this part of the track. There's Chris making the pass on the Gumpert. That's the same corner he had the same situation he had early in the race with that Mustang. ended up in the gravel, but this time he hangs onto it. Looks like we got a car off, and that looks like Klempnauer.
Oh no!
Klempnauer doing a little weed whacking. Back on track. Parsons looks like he's getting his way, managing his way by traffic without much of a problem.
Yeah, it can be a little tougher for the guy in the lead, or in front anyway. So that's always something to watch for. A little bit more difficult for that lead guy, as sometimes that traffic in front is a little unaware that perhaps leaders are coming through. And once they get it figured out, then the second guy can tend to get by a little easier sometimes.
The Gumpert again involved. This time Parsons looks like he did have some contact with that Gumpert. Have to take a look at the front of that. Doesn't look to be any damage on that Viper. So Parsons looks like he lucked out there, but still, that's again allowed Moses to close up a little more on Parsons.
Yeah, it should be noted that while the Viper competition coupes aerodynamics have been improved slightly, they still aren't exactly what you could call great, so any aerodynamic damage Aaron were to have would certainly affect him.
So while we follow this battle up front, I'm just going to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Roger that, Al. Well, I'll fill in a little bit here. Don't know how much I can give you as I'm in and out of traffic here and having to concentrate. Enjoyed the beginning of this NAGP Season 18 broadcast season. Got a few twists and turns here tonight with Nick Johnston showing very nice pace in our Super Pole and qualifying event last week. Unfortunately, got that pole position for this feature race, but dropped in a session change and perhaps an alt-tab type situation. So Nick Johnson unfortunately was not able to show his stuff here tonight. Up front, it's been Chris Moses, Aaron Parsons, Chris Moses battle for the majority of the race, with David Canavan lurking there in third. As I look on my timing and scoring from the cockpit, I can see that Aaron Parsons still holds that slim margin over Chris Moses. Got a few retirements here tonight. Unfortunately, a few guys have gone out. few regular competitors were not able to make this race as well, so some guys already needing to perhaps do a little extra work in the upcoming weeks if they expect to be in the championship hunt by season's end. So, we are currently working lap 40 of a scheduled 51. The laps are rapidly winding down here in this 2-hour event from Road America. And so on a personal note, I would like to thank Al and NAGP for giving me the opportunity to drive here not only tonight, but I will unfortunately miss the broadcast next week as we run Bathurst in Australia. And let me tell you, that is going to be a good time. We're going to run out there and bring you some great pictures.
Well, we are back. I'm back, Brad. Thanks for covering. While we were away, well, I was away, I should say, Parsons had a giant moment at the exit of the kink. It was got a little too much grass and was doing a little swapping, but man, these guys are really putting the hammer down. And Chris is now under a second off of Parsons. And with a lot of traffic in the mix as well, I might add. These guys are about to lap to P10. Parsons now has his teammate up ahead, who he's about to put a lap down, as Chris has Montgomery and Houston ahead he's got to contend with. As Houston lets Moses by. Looks like we lost somebody else, not sure who.
Jared Keene now, unfortunately.
Keener out of the race. Marty Urin now up to P8. Greg Myers in the top 10, running in 9th. And Houston a lap down in 10th. Mark O'Connie as well, currently in 11th. Hamilton running 12th. Chandler back in 13th, probably a bit disappointed after his where he was early on in this race, running up in P4. Got run down pretty towards the end of his first stint by Marty and Tiago, and had a bit of a moment, but still a little ways here to go. Still has a chance to get up to the up into the top 10. So still a good night for Kurt nonetheless. Klepnauer up back in 14th. Klepnauer has had up and down race. He's been in the top 10s, made a couple mistakes. Down, back now, still in the points, but probably should be a little further up than he is. Wathen now, who's been struggling most of this race, is up into the points at 15th. And Kevin Miller back at 16th in the points. Marecki one spot out, currently at 17th. Mascarelli about to be overtaken by Brad in 18th. Litgia back in 19th. Ryan Stories in 20th. And Montgomery Jr. 21st. Great Tricks and Jack Ivey round up the field. I'm sorry, Chuck Carter also running back in 24th. Started the race with 30. We got 24 on track. Oh, Lugnuts has parked it. I was wondering what happened. Do we know what happened to Lugnuts? I don't think so, but he's pulled it into the pits.
Well, that's too bad, Al.
Fortunate turn of events for Lugnuts. He was running very well early on here, and gap currently 1.4 seconds between Parsons and Moses. Working lap 44. We got 7 to go after this one.
Yeah, it sounds like Aaron does have a tiny bit of pace on Chris. Yeah, and maybe as Chris's tires have gone off a little bit here after those stops, not able to make the same type of inroads with that little extra push. So it may come down to an Aaron mistake. I guess we'll just have to find out over these last couple laps.
You know, as consistent as these guys have been running, I don't see, unless, like you said, Parsons makes a mistake. I don't see Chris.
Well, that's also part of the reason why that could change, because one of those guys makes the smallest mistake, it equals a big time loss, just because the other guy is running so consistently. And boy, it's just is a real testament to what these guys can do, managing those time gaps over the course of an entire 2-hour race, and keeping that focus and concentration up right up till the end. Really great stuff.
It really is amazing to be able to maintain that focus for this long, and you know, just like you see in real racing. I mean, it's playing out here virtually as it does on the real track, and it's unbelievable. It's great to watch.
Yeah, indeed, and I mean, we run a simulation, but it's a pretty gosh darn good simulation. I was 10 seconds coming out of the pits behind Tiago, and I'm pushing like mad to try to get the guy and at least try to see if we can't do anything with him, and that gap just never came down, and so I backed off a little bit, try to save some tires, because the simulation models that well, and he made a little mistake. That gap came down a couple seconds, and here I go off pushing again, and you know what, I've run the tires off the darn thing, Al, and Sim World really does match a real world exercise around here pretty well.
Battle right now on track currently, besides those guys up front, is Marty and Soul, and Marty's just going to blow by Soul into Canada corner. I think Soul just realized he had nothing for Marty and just flashed his lights and let him by. So Marty on a tear. It's amazing that he's back up to 7th after that stop and go. But Brad, I'd keep an eye on your rearview mirror. I don't know what the gap is between, let's see. Yeah, you got some cushion. You got 30 seconds. Well, yeah, got about 30 seconds back to Marty, so. But at the rate he's going, you never know.
He said also that Esteban is having a good drive tonight. Esteban, sometimes a little hit or miss, but boy, he's kicking off the season the right way here tonight. That strong finish in fourth, and shoot, even with the Thiago carrying around those 30 extra kilos of ballast, he's really done a great job of showing a lot of poise and patience and maintaining that gap. So good job, Esty. Not sure how, but you may be on mute there. I don't know if you say anything, but getting a little static coming through.
Oh, yep. Now here we go. But anyway, I was saying that Marty just made the pass on Sol for 7th, and to keep an eye on your rearview mirror because Marty's on a charge. I know you got some time between yourself and Marty, but he is flying.
Yeah, and I have been kind of trying to follow Marty's progress a little bit back there, and I'm really glad he was able to recover as well as he has. It's a very nice drive. I think whatever problem that he had there got a little bee in his bonnet, and he's really been buzzing, so to speak, after that. So nice run back up for Marty.
I'm thinking that early pit stop for Moses may be affecting him a little bit here as the gap has now fallen back to about 2.6 seconds. And Chris was really pushing hard. He may have, as you said, drove the tires off of that BMW.
Yeah, but you know what? It was a great effort, and there's plenty of laps yet to go, and anything can still happen, but it's really a great job to claw back those eight or so seconds Aaron had over him, and shoot, just about latched onto his bumper here just a couple laps ago. So really great job by Chris, and he's still in the fight. He's not out of it yet by any means.
I invite everybody to tune in next week, next Monday, as we'll have action from Bathurst. As we mentioned earlier, Brad will be racing in that event. So I've recruited the talents of Rich Roman to fill in for Brad. Hopefully Rich does not get cold feet and back out. Because
and finally, sorry, Al. I had to say, and finally a GT1 champion, Rich Roman. So congratulations to him on that for finally getting that job done, and hopefully we'll get to hear some of his comments on that next week.
Yeah, Rich definitely deserved that championship last season, but Rich will be hopefully in the booth with us next week, and provide a little different insight, and should be fun. So hopefully you guys will be able to tune in next week from Bathurst. Much like a street circuit, walls everywhere, cliffs, danger, all of the above. So the gap really hasn't changed too much, still about 2.5 seconds, but doesn't look like that's going to be closing up anytime soon, as Parsons has remained focused here. Has had a few moments, to say the least. He's with lap traffic, also just on his own. He had a big moment at the kick, but still pressing on here and leading this race.
Yeah, sometimes that could actually work out to one's benefit, Al. Having either some pressure close behind and those types of situations, trying to hold on, or perhaps a moment with traffic or something, it can help kind of bring the focus back into perspective. These can be trying mental events, and it's easy to get wore out occasionally mentally and fatigued. So that can help sharpen the focus occasionally.
Well, we have a situation brewing here as Esteban Palacio is now within 5 seconds of Canavan. So Esteban pushing. He's got Canavan in his sights. He can see him down track, and you know he's going to try like hell to catch up to him for that final podium position.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see. I would think Marty should have pace over maybe all three of those guys, Canavan, Palacio, and Canola, had he not had his problem, but it would be interesting if Marty also was in that mix. Exactly what might be happening up there.
Canola is now 7 seconds behind Esteban, so Tiago really not able to make up any ground on the top four. I think he may have pushed that Porsche to its limit here tonight. This is probably the best he's going to get out of it.
Well, Tiago championship, or GT2 championship last year, was obviously showing some incredible pace over the course of that season, and well, we all know he's got it, so these guys should probably enjoy any time they could finish ahead of the guy, assuming this season is anything like last. And, you know, continuing that thought, Al, Tiago finish may not hurt him so badly. He's certainly not going to collect any more success ballast. Of course, we only give that success ballast out to our podium finishers, but we'll lose the weight that he's got here tonight for going into next week. So it could end up helping him out quite a bit, getting rid of that weight early.
Well, we have a tremendous battle here for 10th, 11th, and 12th between Marco Conti, Christian Hamilton, and John Houston, as well as Kurt Chandler, not too far back behind these guys for in this battle. It's Houston now gets a run on, and Christian looks like he's going to make the move. Oh, has a huge slide, hangs on to it. Wow, nice job by Houston. It makes the pass on Hamilton, so those are huge points. As Christian's teammate Canavan is running currently running third. Of course, Houston's teammates leading the race. And now Marco Conti is going to have to deal with the power of this Viper. Down the main straight. Houston just not able to get close enough to get it. Ooh, as Marco has a giant. Just goes completely sideways going into one. As Christian looks to answer back going into turn 2. Wow. I wonder if these guys are using a handbrake. It's unbelievable. Houston, the giant slide going into turn 2. And Houston now with the run on Marco. And it looks like he's going to take the 10th spot away from Conti. Wow.
Great action.
This is unbelievable the way these guys are flinging these cars around.
And it's probably not by choice, Al.
And now Kurt has this. We're gonna have to follow these guys because Kurt's now entered this fray, and he's alongside Christian. This could get. Ooh, as Kurt a little too much puts a little too much power down on the exit heading towards the carousel and loops it. Hang in there, Kurt. Oh! As Christian gets into the side of Marco, they both, it was like the parting of the Red Sea. Both of them went in each left and right. And both are back on track. But trying to go side by side in that carousel does not work. That was incredible. Marco back on track, and neither of them really affected too much by that, but that was insane. Oh, as Christian has some serious damage to the front of that Ferrari.
Al, I hate to break in. I know you've got some great action up there. I think Tiago Canola has dropped or frozen. In any event, he just showed back up on timing and scoring. So having a bit of timing and scoring issues is Tiago. Sorry, Al.
Oh, he's back on. He's looking good here, back in 5th. Might have had a little bit of a glitch there. You know, some of these guys, Tiago, Brazilian, racing out of Brazil, Aaron Parsons from Australia, so, and Canavan from Europe. So some of these guys obviously racing from overseas, and sometimes their connection can get a little loopy.
Well, I think we're into our final lap here, Al.
Lap 51, and it looks like Parsons is set to win race 1 here as Chris Moses tried to answer, coming in early, but in his efforts to catch up to Parsons after that final pit stop, ended up fading near the end here, now about 5 seconds back, and it looks like Chris is content to finish in 2nd spot and take the points. So not sure what happened to Parsons, but Moses has just gone on to win the race.
Oh!
I think Aaron just...
what happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was confused that the race was over or what, but he just... Or maybe he had some kind of technical problem where the car just lurched to the right. He's gonna... Looks like he's gonna hold on a second, but... He just drove off the track. I'm not sure what happened.
Really?
It just cost him the race. Wow.
Well, that is stunning.
That is shocking. Canavan's going to take 3rd. Palacio looks like he's going to finish in 4th. Yeah, Brady was heading into the final corner, and then the car just darted to the right, and he just sat there. Canola's going to take 5th. Shocking.
Going into the last corner on a 2-hour race, Al.
Yeah, right there where you are now.
Amazing.
He just drove it to the right. It's he had it. It was very strange. I'm not sure what happened there, but Brad, well done. Talking, yeah, all this chirping going on in the background, you still managed to finish 6th. So great job. So,
it was a challenge, Al, but I was happy to do it.
Looks like we got a Jag that might blow up here. It is smoking heavily. As Marty Urine.
Very interesting.
Marty Urine's going to take P7. So Long will finish in 8th. That's it. That's the final position, the final guys on the lead lap. So, stunning turn of events here to end the night after 2 hours on the final corner. Aaron Parsons has some kind of, I can only describe it as a either a technical problem or some kind of distraction, and he ended up in the grass and was stationary for a while. So that allowed Chris to go by and was gifted the victory. So Chris goes on to win tonight's race. Parsons second, Canavan third. Shocking. And Brad, solid 6th place finish. For thank you very much for sitting in and dealing with me while you're trying to race. That was pretty impressive, so I appreciate it.
Well, it's no problem at all, Al. And just a quick comment on the race itself. You know, with that win, Chris Moses and of course I was helping out that team, PMR, tonight. They're going to take quite a few points here in that team classification early on. Quite a few of those rivals, Kung Fu and of course TBROK Dam Bam's going to miss out on those first place points from Aaron. So PMR setting himself up here early in the season.
So thanks everybody who tuned in here tonight. Another exciting race here at Road America, and we'll look forward to next week as we bring you action from Bathurst. Again, Roman will be sitting in as Brad will partake in that race, and hopefully everybody can tune in and watch the broadcast if you're not racing with us. So thanks again everybody for tuning in, and thank you Brad for helping me out. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Thanks, Al.